software department at Gotchos, there are so many cute things. You know, I think I could spend hours just looking at them. In fact, I think I could have as much fun selecting an outfit for a newborn as I could have choosing a new outfit for myself. Well, you know, most people will agree there's no greater joy for a parent than that of a newborn. But unfortunately, many newborns are brought into this world prematurely and very weak. And not long ago, babies in this condition would have died. But today, they're able to lead normal and healthy lives due to amazing advances in neonatal care. Tonight, we're going to visit an amazing mobile intensive care unit. We're going to see how this fascinating transport van and a staff of doctors and nurses are battling the odds to save babies' lives.
Sister, may I help you? Yes, sir, we do have an open bed. Okay, respiratory distress, is it on oxygen? Okay, and what's the baby's name? Okay, are the blood gases stable? It was kind of a helpless feeling, but it was a hopeful feeling at the same time. She is so tiny and she just looks so helpless, and it's our first child, and I was just wanting, you know, everything to be okay, but I was helpless because she was being taken, but I was so grateful and hopeful that she was getting the care that she needed.
After receiving the call, this life-saving team, staffed with a doctor, 2 respiratory therapists, 2 registered nurses, and a driver, was on its way. There was no hesitation. They knew what needed to be done. They needed to save a life. The St. Francis Cabrini Mobile Infant Intensive Care Unit is just an example of the types of units being used nationwide to get intensive care to high-risk babies as soon as possible. And on this particular day, the baby in trouble was Rachel. Like most transports, this baby was born 5 weeks premature and very weak.
Most important time in one's life, as far as the eventual outcome is concerned, is right at the time of birth. Each minute matters there. So we try to reach those babies as early as possible.
That was Dr. Amar Najjar, Medical Director for the Infant Special Care Center. According to Dr. Najjar, this life-saving infant transport system has been quite successful. Since the first unit was installed in Denver, Colorado in 1967, this concept has spread to about 100 communities across the country. Here in Alexandria, Louisiana, this unit is based at St. Francis Cabrini Hospital. And because this is the only unit available within a 60-mile radius, this facility is shared with local hospitals. Dennis Wissing, chairman of the transport team, says this unit is one that's been needed for quite some time.
There's more babies dying per 1,000 births in the state of Louisiana than any state in the country. And the rate stands presently about 12 deaths per 1,000 births, which is exceptionally high. The national trend is 9 per 1,000. So we're losing a lot of babies in this area.
As the transport team arrives, time is of the essence. This crack team of doctors, nurses, and respiratory therapists work side by side at a continuous pace to stabilize their patient. But what's it really like to work in a situation like this? Well, no one sums it up better than the team members themselves.
Oh, it's exciting, it's dynamic. It's immediately rewarding because you can see the fruits of your labor start to work right there on the spot.
Well, it's challenging. You never know what's going to happen from one minute to the next. When you get a call, you don't know what to expect, and you always have to be prepared to do the unexpected, so that there's always the uncertainty involved.
After stabilizing Rachel in the hospital where she was born, she's now ready for transport back to the special equipment at St. Francis Cabrini Hospital. In the unit, the baby's condition has to remain under control. And as Nurse Joanne Litton explains, the pressure can be tremendous at times.
Well, you're always afraid of what's going to happen, if something's going to go wrong. You're the only nurse usually, unless there's another nurse from the other hospital that's functioning with you. So that you've got to be ready at a moment's notice to provide the doctor with anything he needs. You have to really anticipate his needs so that things are ready for him before he really needs them. So that there's always the, what am I going to do next? Am I going to have it ready? Is it going to be there when I need to give it to him?
While the major concern for the team at this time is a medical one, for the parents of this infant, this moment is filled with a sense of comfort.
Well, as I was following the van down the highway, my reaction was, first of all, just relief that the baby was in the best possible hands. And that was the main thing. We didn't know at the time the extent of the seriousness of the illness, that it could be even fatal, which they said it could have been if it wasn't caught in time. So it was just a feeling of extreme relief that she's in the very, very best hands that it could be, with the doctors and the nurses and the therapists with her.
But Steve Dice is just one example of how many fathers and mothers of critically ill newborns feel. A child in need is a major concern for any parent.
I think it's really a big shock to the family when they're expecting a real, healthy, normal baby and the baby turns out to be a premature baby. Also, in addition to that, the premature babies also have a lot of medical problems. The inability for those premature babies to breathe, their lungs are immature, all the body systems are immature. So in addition to that psychological shock, they have all the medical problems on top of that, which they have to cope up with. Mr. Dice?
Yes.
I'm Dr. Nijar, neonatologist. I saw your baby. Your baby is going to be fine. Just a premature is not going to be much problem. Let me show you something.
She was breathing real hard today in the hospital before they took her, and they said her lungs could have collapsed, if she had had to stay without the help that she's getting now. And also, we were told that it could have been fatal if this had not been caught in time, so it has saved her life.
By the way, in case you were wondering about the little girl featured in our story, her parents tell us that her condition has improved tremendously, and they expect to bring her home sometime this Friday.